Listen carefully. Now, it's time to analyze the business side of this because people are asking, is this thing possible? It's time to analyze the business side of this. All right. So, is the sand business, and when I say sand, I'm including aragonite. Remember, sand and aragonite is the same thing. All right. Well, aragonite is a type of sand. Is the sand business worth it? Can money be made? We're going to analyze that for a second so that we know how we're going to change this country. We use 50 gigatons of sand every year, is what the world uses every single year. And that is only what is recorded. They believe that the vast majority of sand is actually is not recorded, not accounted for. Because of the sand wars and the sand mafia, that much of the sand is smuggled out. Many countries have slowed down on allowing sand to be dredged because they are running out of their sand. That the world is running out of water. And we are the only country, and this is the only place that has water. How could that water not be valuable? Let's think for a minute. After water, the most needed and demanded thing is sand. And so if the world is running out of that, how could it not be valuable? So that's an easy question to answer. 51 countries in the world are reclaiming sea to create land on a major level. 51 countries are adding to their land mass by dumping sand. So you remember what Dubai did by adding to their land mass, where they create these artificial islands? There are 51 countries in the world heavily engaged in that, and they are in desperate need of sand. They can't get enough of it because they use sand to do so. And they can't use the sand that's in the desert. So Dubai, you have to import sand, even though they are a desert. They have to import sand. They needed the sand desperately. And so this is in heavy demand. China alone increased their land mass by 4,600 square miles. 4,600 square miles. China did. Can you imagine that? Do you know what 4,600 square miles is? Let me put that in perspective for you. The whole entire island of Abaco is only 600 square miles. The whole entire island. The whole entire province is only 147 square miles. The whole of Andres is about 4,000 square miles. And so you could take Andres, Grand Bahama, the province, maybe Freeport, put them together. And that is what China has done to expand to their landmass. Pay close attention. That sand had to come from somewhere and someone benefited from that. Some country made money from that while we were asleep. Singapore imported 59 million tons of sand from Malaysia alone. Malaysia is now banned them from importing sand. And so Malaysia actually reported that they believe that Singapore actually imported 133 million tons of sand, while Singapore admitted to only importing 3 million, but much of it was smuggled in. Can you imagine that? And Singapore paid up to $190 per ton. $190 per ton. Remember people telling you that, oh, it's not worth anything, you only get a certain amount per ton for it. Singapore alone, unless the sand does not have to be processed, they just took it and dumped it in order to increase their land mass because they're a small island. $190 per ton. Countries all around have banned them from importing. They want to build another 20 square miles of land mass. They need to get it from somewhere. We have what they need. They need a lot of sand in order to do that. A lot of sand. The Netherlands built 2,700 square miles of extra land mass by importing sand. Korea did 600 square miles. So this thing is in major demand. We have the customers, y'all. We have the customers. It is very easy to understand. So let's say you do this math quickly. Let's say that Singapore imported 59 million tons of sand and they paid $190 per ton. That is $11.2 billion. $11.2 billion. You do the math. Our entire year budget is $2.5 billion. Our entire country's debt over all of its existence is $10 billion. That covers your entire debt. That covers some of your budget for the whole year. And no one has to pay a dollar in taxes. That one transaction. Amazing. From one country. And so other areas where we are able to get our income from our natural resource we call sand is fracking. The fracking industry is huge. This is a new way that they dig for oil. Fracking is how they dig horizontally for oil instead of going directly down. And so this is how they can get other oil reserves that they couldn't get by digging holes in the earth simultaneously. And so the fracking industry is huge. Brazil is saying that they need 87 million tons of sand. 87 million tons. At $10 a ton, that is $170 million by itself for one industry and one country. In Texas and the Shale Basin, they do 115 million tons of sand for fracking. At $10, do the math. Not even $100, not even $1,000. At $10 per ton, do the math. That's $1 billion. Jesus. Do the math. Canada is also another major fracking customer that we can possibly get for our sand. The Middle East is now into fracking. They can't use their sand for it. Our sand is more perfect. Of course, for fracking, there's other sand that's better than ours just for fracking because it is more hard. But our sand is movable for fracking, and the Middle East needs this, y'all. The Middle East needs this. And so the person telling me that this is not possible, we're giving you the facts today. There's also the glass industry, the steel industry. They use millions and millions and millions of tons, billions of tons of sand. The construction industry is enormous search for sand. The silica industry and countries have run out of sand. Many stop export, but guess who has it? You have it. So now let's talk about the Bahamas supply of sand. The Bahamas has its very own supply of sand. According to Alison Myers, you saw it in our second documentary, Alison Myers from Calcine, she says that the Bahamas has 100 billion tons of renewable aragonite. That's just aragonite. That's not the sand. That's just aragonite. We have more sand than that. But that's aragonite. 100 billion tons of aragonite alone, which is renewable. That is amazing. The previous Minister of Environment, Bernard DeVoe, said that we could mine 5 billion tons of sand per year without adversely affecting the environment. 5 billion tons. We have made a determination that we're not going to mine that much. We are looking to mine 1 billion tons of sand a year. We have more than enough customers who want this sand. And so we are going to mine 1 billion tons of sand / aragonite every single year. We spoke to a person from the Bahamas Natural Resources Foundation, particularly Mr. Prescott Smith, and we asked him to give us an idea of some areas that we can mine that will not adversely affect the environment, where it will be safe to mine. And so we identified some areas that would be safe to mine. The first one that we identified is actually near to the top of the ocean, just west of Andros. And this area, there's nothing around it, and it would be easy to mine 1 billion tons of sand from there alone without even feeding it, without even it being noticeable from that area alone. He gave us a few other areas, one just south of Elutra, where he said the Defense Force ships used to sail across it, and now so much sand has accumulated there that you can't run the ships across it anymore because the sand is not coming out of the sea. That is how much sand we have in this country, my fellow Canadians. And so he identified that area, and he identified another area just north of Andros where we could also take some sand. Any one of these areas can do it, particularly just south of Elutra, and particularly near the tongue of the ocean, west of Andros, where we identified that it would be safe to do that, and we would not feed it at all. And so we have the supply that the people, that countries need. We have the supply.
Good afternoon, Bahamas, and welcome, welcome, welcome. It's always a pleasure to have you here. You know what to do when you get on here. Let's please share the live so we can share the message to all those persons out there. We know the routine. We know that the media doesn't want the message to get out there, so we have to do that. All right. So just want to welcome all of you. First of all, I want to thank everybody who patronize our South out that we had a few days ago. It was fabulous. It was on Saturday. It was amazing. Every single thing was fabulous. Everyone who got that food was bragging about it. The pea soup was to die for. The sauce was to die for. We're gonna do it again. We'll announce you and let you know when we're gonna do it again. The food was fabulous. I mean, everything, the rib sauce, the sheep tongue, the chicken, the pig feet, everything. They even had chicken foot sauce. Yeah, I didn't get to eat that, but they had chicken foot sauce. And I heard it was awesome. I've never eaten chicken foot. Um, but I guess one of these Saturdays when we have this, I'm gonna give that a try. So thank you for patronizing. We have to support the movement, and that's the only way that we're gonna get to where we need to get. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you for all of your support. A lot of people came out, and thank you for that. We always appreciate you. We got to get the movement to where it needs to be. We got to fund the movement. We our convention is on April 13th. April 13th is our convention, and so we're looking forward to you being there. The delegates will know who they are, and they're there for the morning session. We're going to be ratifying our constitution. We'll also be electing our leadership of the organization, and then that evening we want everyone to come out and be a part of hearing from us, from the new leadership, and hearing from everyone involved. All right. So make sure you spread the word and get everyone out. So thank you, thank you, thank you for that. So tonight we're gonna get say try it next time. Chicken for sauce is the bomb. Okay, I'll try it next time. Listen, everything was going so fast, but we were there all day. They were bringing more and more sauce as we go, and more soup. And so we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it again. All right. So next time we announce it, make sure you are there. So thank you for that. I'm going to do a brief live tonight. A guest who was supposed to be here didn't show up. We had Gamal Nuri, who is a crime expert, a security and crime expert, who's supposed to be here, but I guess he had to cancel. And so on Sunday, this coming Sunday, we're going to continue our vision series, and we're going to have a very special guest. So make sure that you're here to watch. Um, we're going to have Mr. Joe Davo, former head of the BNT, and we're going to talk about our carbon credits, the environment, et cetera, et cetera. Where do we go from here? We heard all this talk about sand, et cetera, that we were talking about, but okay, how do we touch sand without touching our environment, et cetera, et cetera? So we're gonna have a good discussion with him. He's a real environmentalist, a respected one who's been doing this for a long time, and we're gonna have this conversation. All right. So please make sure you're there on Sunday for that. I want to congratulate the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs, they came back and won in grand style. The first half of the Super Bowl was boring, and so I even changed the channel. And that's when the Kansas City Chiefs came back and won the Super Bowl. So congratulations to them. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to touch on a couple of things here. The Prime Minister made the most strange announcement or a strange statement to the media recently, and I'm not even going to play that. Basically, the man said that we should let go of the past. That's what he said. When they asked him about the fact that they blaze billboards in areas where tourists frequent on West Bay Street, etc., showing 490 murders, that he bragged him because he was the one out there with the billboards and talking to the media at the time. And he said, that's the past, and we have to let go of the past. And he's basically saying that uh, he didn't know the consequences. Now he has information to know the consequences. It is one of the most idiotic statements that I've ever heard in my life. And I don't blame him. I blame us. Because when a man makes the kind of statements he did before the election, we should have known what was coming. When a man says that the solution to crime is giving against women is giving every woman a whistle, we should have known what was coming. We should have known that there would be partying and dancing when this administration came in. We shouldn't have known that the crime rate would have increased. We should have known. But we still allowed it to happen. And so what do we do now? Do we allow it to happen again? Do we allow it to continue? Do we swing back and forth PLP and F&M? Before I can continue with that, I wanted to make everyone aware of this this nonsense that is happening again. This particular company disappeared after the election, and they showed up again. Let me see if I could find this again. Where is it? Yeah, let me see if I can. Okay, I'll find it. Give me one sec. Yeah, this particular company. And so their job is to come out and do these polls, these fake polls, where you can't see the results live. And so we talked about this before the last election, and they're doing it again. Intel Key, we believe, is from directly from the Progressive Liberal Party, and they are going to push this agenda. Let's see. Let me see how I can share this with you. And so what they're doing is they are sponsoring a survey that's now going around on social media that they want you to take this survey. And this is a survey that you're looking at now. These surveys are garbage, and this is political interference. All right? Because what the survey does is they talk about other organizations, but they ask you about the leader. Look at what they do. And this shows you that this thing is illegitimate, and you should go on their social media page and speak out against them. It says political leadership tests. It says if you were able to vote for the next prime minister of the Bahamas and you could only choose between the two options below, who would you select? And so they only showed you Philip Brave Davis, showing his name first, and then Michael Pintard. That's it. And that's all. So no one else who is running in the election is considered. This is so utterly stupid that persons would even entertain this. This is ridiculous that people keep falling for these fake poll companies that will continue to do this. So the impression they want to give is that there are only two parties, of course, and that you have to choose between one of them. Now, afterwards, they say, if the general election was called tomorrow, the person I would most want to be prime minister is, and they name several persons, including myself, right? And they put me on the bottom. So if you want to, but you have to answer this question on the top to move forward. So they already made you pick between these two persons who want to continue to destroy this nation. And then afterwards, they tell you if elections called tomorrow, the person that would want to be prime minister is, look. But if you choose not to answer this, you can't do the poll. And then they continue, as Prime Minister Right Honorable Philip Brave Davis has done whatever job. What is your agenda? They should have said, what is your sex? They've twisted the word gender now to mean what you identify as, so they should have asked sex. How old are you? Did you vote in the last general election? National issue, most important to me. Now, when they did this poll before the election, they included natural resources, but here they don't include natural resources. economy, cost of living, abortion, illegal immigration, government taxation, etc., crime, etc. They excluded natural resources this time, hoping that we've forgotten about our natural resources and we could leave it alone. And not talking about our carbon credits or our natural resources. You see? And they're using these polls to sway the people. And of course, you can't see the live results. Like when you finish taking the poll, you should see this is how many people voted for this, that, that, and that. And it's live and they can't change it. But they can come back and give you any result. And that's exactly what they're going to do. You don't know how everyone else voted. And so they're going to come back and give you some nonsense and say, this is what people voted for. All right? They said, in politics, as of today, do you consider yourself FNP or COI independent? All right? And so they put that there. This thing is so laughable. Did you vote in? Okay. And if you click next without answering all of these, it won't let you go by. You have to answer this first question. It makes you pick between Pintard and Brave Davis. This is utter garbage, and we need to let them know that. And we need to let them know that we're on to them. But this is the kind of tricks that the politicians employ, and we can't fall for this nonsense. All right? So stay focused. Don't fall for that garbage. This is 21st century. We're a different generation. All right? So we're not gonna fall for that. The Prime Minister says he doesn't want murder on the headlines. I told you that we are devolving. We're at a tailspin into going into dictatorship. We're in a tailspin of dictatorship. And, when the media is bought out, and now the media is being told what to say and what to do. Touch this, don't touch this, touch that, don't touch that. That's when we're going into dictatorship, and we can't have that in our nation. We have to stand up and fight. All right? The government is failing as it relates to crime. I met with the Commissioner of Police and his entire team. You might have heard this on Steve McKinney's show yesterday. The team is doing what they can. All right? There are a lot of arrests that they are making with these murders, which is good. And you got to give them their props where they need them. There's a lot of policy changes that they want, but they don't seem to have the courage to actually speak out for it. So we have to speak out for them. And so we want to say that the government talks about the Bail Act. The government talks about the Bail Act, and I saw someone say no sound. I think they're probably old. The government talked about the Bail Act, and they know that no act can take away the government's position. No act can take away what the government is able to do, what the judges are able to do and not do. And so they know that they have to go to a referendum to change the Bail Act. But of course, they're not going to do that. They're going to pretend like they didn't know, because they just want to do this for PR. This whole bail thing was for PR. And so they would have to go to a referendum. And if you go to a referendum and say no bail for murder, no court can override that. That would be it. All right? And so they don't want to do that. These are criminal lawyers who represent criminals, who make their money through these loopholes, through getting bail for criminals. And that is what they want to continue to do. So they don't want to make their job hard. They want to make their job easy. So we have to make our job easy by standing up to them. The corruption has to stop. The corruption has to end. We're tired of it. We've had enough of it. I met with the Commissioner of Police. I gave them certain ideas, which included a real saturation patrol, where you have one police officer per car at the front and back of each organized community, and they're able to respond. So in every community, You saturate them by having patrols in the front and back of them. And if you commit a crime in there, they are going to catch you. You're not going to be able to get away so easily using the spot shutter and the CCTVs. And they have a drone. In fact, they have 5 drones that they can use right now. I see one pilot, so that means they can only use one at a time. But it is effective. It can be effective, and they have made some arrests with drones already. And so they can use the drones in the hotspot area, the CCTV, and the police at certain points, and they can deal with crime. I told them that the main thing that they need to do is not to focus on putting police officers on the streets and the roundabouts. That is, come on. What they need to do is they need to target the real criminals. That's what needs to happen. We need to target the real criminals. Just go after them. I told them, talk to Rudy Giuliani, get rid persons in New York who brought down crime in New York. See what they did. All they did was target persons. They target Gotti. They got the small fish, and they got the small fish to turn on the big fish. It wasn't very difficult. They set up shop next to them. If they have a restaurant they always go to, the government set up shop next to that. They tap those places. They listen to them, and then they catch them in the act of a crime. I don't think these criminal lawyers that we have in power actually want to make a change. I don't think they do. And so that's why the crime continues. And that's why it's going to continue. All right? So I told them about the guns and where the guns are coming from. They're coming mostly from Haiti, not from the United States of America. They felt like a lot of the guns came from America because some of the guns were registered in America. And I told them, no. They ship it to Haiti legally. They don't have to smuggle it that way. Haitians can buy guns in America. Haitian companies. They buy the guns legally. They don't have to smuggle it and no ship and risk getting arrested and all that kind of stuff. They ship it legally to Haiti, and then persons in Haiti buy it and ship it to America. The AK-47, which is the gun of choice, is not made in America. They have some AK-47 style guns in America, but the AK-47 is not made in America. That's a Russian gun. All right? And so those guns are not coming from America. They're coming from Haiti. But the fact that the government never mentions Haiti, the police never mention Haiti, is a serious problem. It shows that either they're covering up or they don't really know what's going on. One of the two. And so we gotta fix that. All right. So I told them about the yachts that are coming in, that they're bringing in some. They're allowed to come in with any guns, and when they check in, once they check in, they're legal. But when they're leaving, no one accounts for the guns that are going out of this country. And that's where the problem comes in. I see someone say they don't have any sound. Maybe you need to exit and then come back in. If you don't have any sound, because other persons have sound. And so this is where some of the problems come in. We need real solutions to crime in this country. And we need to end the corruption. The biggest problem in this country is corruption, not crime, not immigration, none of that stuff. I have a lot of documents. I'm going through documents every single day. And I have the stuff digital. But I'm going through documents every day to show the corruption in this country. The gross corruption. I'm looking at here again at a document. If you watch Steve McKinney's show, I started to touch on this. Put all these out there. This is a letter, Board of Directors resolution, special call ball meeting that they call. This is Water and Sewage Company. And it says the Gladstone Road Wastewater Treatment Plant, request for additional funding, $1 million. It has come to the attention of the Board of Directors of the Water and Sewage Company that the sum of $1 million was deposited via wire transfer to the account at Bank of the Bahamas of the contractor, Nassau Island Development, with regards to the Gladstone Road wastewater treatment plant project. This bank transfer was made without reference to the chairman, the board of directors, WSC's management, and against the express wishes of the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Public Works, etc. To this end, we, the board of directors, individually and collectively, state clearly that we were unaware and had no knowledge or any kind of inclination of this transaction. Further, we are dismayed and question direct disbursements to the contractor, Nassau Island Development, which in essence circumvents any internal controls and our collective historical knowledge of this particular project. We therefore want to go on record individually distancing ourselves from the particular transaction. The board takes the gravest exception of this transaction and feels strongly that the action taken by those responsible was not in the best interest of the corporation, the project, or the Bahamian people. And we are offended that this action took place. And this was signed by members of the board, including John Bain and Audley Hanna, and other persons. All right, that's Turnquest and other persons. So this transaction is referenced to Nassau Development Company. And if you watch Steve McKinney's show, and I know some of you didn't, so I have to go back over this. If you watch that show, you would have heard who Nassau Development Company is. And I'm just going to touch on this tonight, because tomorrow is your Valentine's. I don't want to keep y'all up too late. All right. I'm gonna actually pull up the file of these. Each one of these, I have all these documents here, and each one of these papers are incriminating information about stuff that's going on, not just this case, but many other stuff that's been going on with water and sewage company. All right, you heard me read some of these stuff yesterday. I won't go through all of them today, but I want you to see that this Nassau Island Development Company, the name seemed to be familiar if you didn't watch it. The name seems to be very familiar. The whole thing is extremely sketchy. So just trying to get to the actual document as quick as I can. Sorry about that. I should have had this pulled up and ready for you guys. But there's so much documents to go through. We could take months to really go through all this and examine what's really going on. And I want to say that sometimes we feel that the whole system is corrupt. But there are persons in government who don't want to see the corruption. Not everyone is corrupt. All right. So Nassau Island Development Company, this is their information. This is Nassau Island Development Company. All right. So this is their registered information. So I just want to put that out there for you. Yeah, that's their registered information. The owners of it, the owners of Nassau Island Development Company, Anthony L. Ferguson and Merlene Poitier. All right. Anthony L. Ferguson there's 5,000 shares in the company. He has 4,999 shares. Merlene Poitier, businesswoman, they say, has 1 share. All right. So I'm sorry, I should have had this on the screen for y'all. All right. So Merlene Poitier. And so Merlin Poitier is the secretary of Philip Grave Davis. And so it appears that some company was formed. Oh, my screen is getting dark. Some company was formed uh, in order to do this contract from water and sewage. And so, of course, they won't, Grave won't directly put that in his name, but it appears that his secretary is a person whose name is in. And this is why the board had a serious question about all of this that transacted. My God, the screen is very dark. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what's going on there. All right. And so what the board did was they pulled up the Tribune obituary of Dorothy Louis Davis. Hope I'm reading that right. If I'm not, please forgive me. Which is the mother of Philip Grave Davis. So they pulled that up. Dorothy Davis. So they pulled these documents up and they showed that that was Grave Davis' mother. And the reason they really pulled it up was to show that Merlene Poitier was listed as other relatives and close friends. And so that's why they actually named this person. All right. So in other words, they are showing a connection between Grave Davis and this. So there's no way I can go through all this tonight. I'll leave that there. We need a break as Bahamians. We need a break from this corruption. We need a break from swinging back and forth PLP and FNM every single election. We need a break from that, man. We need a break where only certain people eat when this party is in power and only certain people eat when that party is in power. We need a break, man. We need a break. We need you to help us to stand up and fight for this country. Because if we don't stand up and fight for this country, this is going to be gone. I'm going to open up the phone line so I can hear from you tonight. I'm going to open up the phone line so I can hear from you. How do you feel about what's going on in the country? How do you feel about what's been going on in the news, etc.? With Philip Grave Davis and his statements. How do you feel about the crime situation as escalating, as embarrassing us internationally? I said before election that if you put the PLP there, we're going to be embarrassed internationally. We've been embarrassed internationally over and repeatedly since they've come to power, from FTX to everything else. And I don't know. Do you think Bahamians are ready for change? Or do you think we just love being a broken country? Let's have this conversation. Let's have this question. And of course, I open myself up to questions to anybody who has questions for me. 803-5995 is the number. 803-5995 is the numbers that you can call us. 803-5995. How do you feel about Grave Davis' this statement? Where do we go from here? Have you noticed that they're not talking about immigration anymore? They're pretending that immigration isn't a problem anymore. How do you feel about what's going on? Seriously, did you know that Miss Curry's property, there were demolitions on her property? They never said that. They said that they can't say it because it would give us credit for standing up and fighting for her. But we're just glad we don't need the credit. We're just glad that a cause we fought for, they had to deal with it. And that's what we're glad for. And so we want to congratulate Ms. Curry for getting her property back. 803-5995 is the number, 803-5995. And so you can call in. What do you feel? How do you feel? All right. While we're waiting for you to call in, this is the future. The documentaries that we put put out there about our natural resources is the future. Don't let them stop you from talking about our natural resources. Don't let them tell you that we are selling dreams, hoping to win election from selling dreams. That's the excuse for not giving us what belongs to us. You have to wake up. They're now talking about the carbon credits before election. They're now talking about the natural resources. Well, they're not talking about it anymore. They started talking about natural resources, then they went quiet. Sorry. Are we going to let this continue while Bahamians suffer? I got a call today from someone in West Grandmama and Bimini in that constituency, and they said, and people ain't doing nothing for them. The PLP came in and did nothing. They said they promised them jobs, told them to go. I think it was the social services. They promised them jobs, and they didn't give them any. They flammed them, BS them, and still don't have the jobs. Some roofs got repaired, some. But the state of poverty is even worse than it was before. What do we do, man? The thing is, and you have to remember this for next election, if you got crappy representation, if you were made to suffer and all they delivered to you was sufferation, and you vote for them again, you are voting for more of the same. You are voting for sufferation. So the person told me on the phone, boy, I so sorry. We so sorry. It's gotten worse. But they said, would we let it happen? Do we go back to Pintard? Like Alan Key suggests? You pick one of those two? Or do we fight for change this time? That's the question. And so I've had quite a few people call me from the constituency who are sad, in a bad state. Some who voted for PLP, some who didn't vote it, some who voted for us. But this is happening all over the Bahamas. All over. The question is, what will we do? That's the question. What will we do? Do we vote for change?